I had an autoimmune condition, disease, whatever, and I didn't even know it. I had a situationship.
You always have a situation.
Okay, but this one was for real. So I was right around my 4-month mark with carnivore, and we're talking very legit, like no cheating, no falling off the wagon, just loving feeling better every day, getting rid of all kinds of inflammation and aches and pains and tons of oxalate toxicity and all this stuff. I was going like gangbusters, feeling great, starting to actually drop some weight. Believe it or not, it was adding up to be something I actually acknowledged as relevant. While Tom's busting through at 70 plus pounds. I'm like, ooh, I think I'm almost to 30. Woo. Anyway, so now this was 26 days ago today, so almost a month. So this is right around my 4-month mark. And all of a sudden, I woke up with severe pain behind my right eye. I'd had this
You're
pain.
saying it happened at the 4-month mark, which was about 26 days ago.
That is exactly what
I know. I just didn't know if that was clear. I just didn't know if that was clear.
Math isn't my thing, but I'm an English girl. Anyway, so I woke up and I knew this pain from 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, we went to the eye doctor and he gave us steroid drops. And a few weeks, it feels like we had to go back one more time and get a stronger steroid drop. Right. But I think overall, it probably only took, it was like in and out, a couple doctor visits, maybe 2 weeks.
Roughly. Yeah.
And never, a little bit, I think it maybe knocked me down for a couple days total back then. Not so much this time. Went straight back to the same eye doctor that had treated me 4 years ago. And he's like, oh, this is way less severe. He looked at his notes. Well, I think he was looking at his worst notes compared to this was right at the beginning of this one. Anyway, he gives me the strong steroid drop and I start taking that like copious amounts. I'm like on a steroid drip in my eyeball. And oh my God. So I suffered through the first 12 days trying to work. We have a paint and drywall contracting business.
Well, he also dilated your eye. That was a whole other thing.
Oh my God. It stayed dilated for 7 days.
Yeah. He put some other type of stuff in there and it just would not close the pupil.
He did it so this ended up being scleritis. He didn't tell us that.
No, but it's what it was.
But Tom does the researches and he figured out it was scleritis, which is an inflammation of the sclera, the covering of the eyeball, and there's like some fluid in there. So now I'm like looking through a hazy, foggy window all the time with this eye, and it was like, what is happening? It felt like a stake through my eyeball the whole time. I mean, and it just went from bad to worse. So after about 12 days, he's like, maybe you should back off on those steroid drops. Why did you say that?
Well, because I was Googling, just learning about them, and they're like, that's a major problem if you go too long on the steroid drops. Then it starts causing other problems that are severe, especially the stronger drop.
So
all kinds of crazy side effects.
Like blindness. I was in so much pain. I was like, I mean, if it doesn't hurt, what do I care if I lose an eye? Like I was almost at that point.
You were pretty miserable.
So miserable. So after 12 days, I was getting less and less productive each day. So after 12 days, I stayed home. I stayed home in the dark with the lights down and just, oh my God, just in abject misery for 10 days. 10 days. In the middle of this 10 days, well, and backing up, what is he called? Eye doctor? Optometrist? Optometrist. He said, are you sure you don't have, you're knocking the table now. Look at you go.
Yes. The fidgeting.
He said, are you sure you don't have an autoimmune disease? He's like, are you sure you don't have a rheumatoid arthritis?
I'm like,
pretty sure. I am not a run to the doctor gal. I was raised in a barn. I was not familiar with doctors. I've only been to a doctor a couple times in my whole life. So maybe, who knows, if I had gone a lot, maybe I would have been diagnosed with something. But at the time I was like, no way, no autoimmunities for me. And I'm also like clean living here, ladies. My toxicity level is low. I don't have any autoimmune issues. Well, Tom was going to the local herbal store where they do like muscle testing and stuff. Like before they'll give you something, they muscle test to make sure that it works with your body. So he had brought me 2 different kinds of eye drops and they suggested that we come in to do a foot detox. So we'll have to, at some point, put some video
that'd be a whole nother
about
video.
that. It's really fascinating, but it's got like this chi coil energetic machine thing that sits in
it's a bunch of freaking woo-woo that actually works.
And it pulls different toxins out of your body. So I tested for environmental poisoning going all the way back to when I was 4 years old, which when I was 4 years old, talked to my mom, figured all this out. We lived in a really old house with an unfinished basement, and my bedroom was in the basement next to the furnace room. So I can only imagine what toxins were in the air. And ever since then, you know, whatever other toxins, my body became overwhelmed so early, then like it just kept getting backed up in my system. And I started to realize that there was a pattern of overwhelm. Like I had seborrheic dermatitis for a whole year at one point about 10 years ago. I had this eyeball problem 4 years ago. I had other issues and problems that I just ended up realizing were parts of my immune system getting overwhelmed with environmental toxins. And I've been doing paint and drywall for 19 years. I mean, there's a few toxins in the air here and there. I'm pretty good.
Just a few.
I'm pretty good with masking up and things, but still, you're around a bunch of dust. It's a lot. So
it's a caustic environment.
It is. So what I have interpreted, and now I'm on this is day 26 of the entire ordeal. I don't have any pain. The past 4 days, I've had no pain. Today, I actually got out of the house, drove my car for the first time. It's a little bright outside. But I am definitely on the mend. I did my second foot detox and we're making progress. Like they see what's pulled out in the water and they tell you, you know, how you're doing and stuff. She wants me to come back for 2 more of those. But bottom line, it was such like a gut check to realize how much toxicity was built up in my body. And it felt really awesome to trust that how I'm eating was not the cause.
Right. Like, oh, we don't have to dump a bunch of crap from our diet. We don't have to give up whatever junk that we've been eating.
I haven't been adding any new toxins since the beginning of June. And so that's, 4 months from when this happened. So best we can tell from different research and information that we have gathered from different other people's experiences, it is not uncommon 3, 4, 5 months into carnivore to have some kind of an autoimmune crisis because your body has prioritized healing like the vital organs and stuff, the liver, heart, kidneys, and then it begins to prioritize other areas. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to say I have this figured out. This is just my understanding based on my experience.
From our digging, and what we've been hearing other people talk about with their experiences.
So I truly believe that I was harboring all of this environmental toxin just latently in my body, and it was ready to come out. Like I was healthy enough for it to come out, but and my lymph system and everything was like ready to go. It just had a little too much at once. And so I just had to give it time. I just sit at home in the dark and be in pain for so many days.
I
don't sit very well, but no. I mean, I did
ish.
And he helped me. I know it was hard on you too, watching me be very helpless.
Miserable. Extremely miserable.
So for me, I've never wanted to have a label like I have an autoimmune disease and I'm stuck with this forever. I've always believed that the body could heal itself.
Well, that's where I just go with you had an autoimmune issue. You had a situation.
I had a reaction.
You had a situation.
Yes.
You're autoimmune, just fighting yourself. Your body,
Well, not attacking me, but attacking the toxins and getting overwhelmed, I guess.
Right.
Something like that. So for the next few videos, I will be wearing glasses because I still have some redness and a bit of irritation. I don't want to switch back to my contacts or put my makeup on until I feel tippy top, because why overwhelm that eyeball, that poor eyeball. But it just really put a different twist on my understanding of why the body has these kinds of inexplicable reactions. And I have a much greater appreciation for my ability to heal, and also for carnivore for supporting my ability to heal. And in the process, Tom did a foot detox, and the lady was talking to him about how his water showed that he had a lot of environmental toxins. Go figure, he's been doing this a lot longer than I have, and that it could be creating some of the severe pain he's had in his shoulder, which really kicked up after he started carnivore. So he could be having some of the same healing kind of
potentially, yeah.
Snarl up. So
kind of see how it plays out.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get him back to do some foot detoxing. So yeah, I guess I had an autoimmune situation, and coming out the other side and actually getting those toxins out of my body and not putting any toxins back in, I do not anticipate ever having this issue again. Yay!